In this episode of Artists and Chefs at Home, we'll be visiting a stylishly modern house in San Antonio's North Side. Artist Victoria Marquez will create an Asian-themed tablescape that plays on geometric shapes and abstract art. In the kitchen, Chef Kristina Zhao will prepare a 3-course meal using some of the most popular and flavorful ingredients from Asian cuisine. Homeowner Lori Urbano designed and built the stunning modern house we're about to see.
If you go into, some of the older neighborhoods, you see some of these timeless looking homes, and I wanted to create that here. So we have stucco, we have metal, we have limestone pavers. The dining room table was created by an artist in Australia. It's metal, it looks like wood. The central foyer and the staircase, that was a design that had a little bit of industrial, yet we brought in the custom stair treads with wood that warmed it up. In my master, I wanted very mid-century modern feel, yet new mid-century modern. I chose wood paneling for one of the walls. I wanted to feel a bathroom where it was spa-like, yet timeless. So I decided to plaster all the walls. The guest bedroom is a little bit different, kind of has its own style. The theater room, when I designed it, lavender was one of my favorite colors, raspberry lavender, those purples. You look at the house and you don't get tired of seeing it.
I've been a professional artist for around 5 years now. I do a lot of surreal abstract paintings and ceramics. Concepts for the tablescape incorporated my kind of artwork and things I'm already naturally been inspired by for years. For the tablescape, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to show you a process that I really love, that I use in a bunch of my work, especially my current body of work. And it's a really fun way to get into painting and start off a painting. So for decalcomania, which is a really old, awesome, surrealistic technique, I wanted to use this process because I want to make this emulate like stone and rock and natural forms. In this case, I want to do jade. So that's why I got these two different, a warm and a cool blue and a yellow and a white, to kind of play around with the kind of green tones that I can make. I'm going to go ahead and start with my dark color and kind of use the water to spread it. There's a lot of geometry in the tablescape, as you'll see later on. I think having this element of a circle really helps tie a lot of those shapes in together. I'm using acrylic paint because it's a really good water-based paint that you could use indoors. It doesn't have a lot of smell. It's not hard to clean up compared to other paints, and it plays really well with water, and it dries really well when you're done and really quickly. So now that I've got what I wanted, I'm gonna go ahead and get my plastic while this is still nice and wet. Press into it, and you can already see those textures starting to develop. You don't have to stick with the first texture you make either. You can lift it up and be like, oh, I like that element that's happening. I don't really like this middle. Let's see what happens if I crunch it up a little bit. What texture does that do? Oh, I like that. Or you can swirl some elements and kind of see what that does. So that's our first one. I'm gonna show some other variations with the other ones. With bigger brushes, something I like to do is kind of press them in and swirl them around. And sometimes that leaves really interesting lines and shapes. Another thing I really love about this process is that it can be pretty messy. And I'm a pretty messy painter. I think it kind of takes the stress off, and it takes away that perfection stress in my case. It really gets you in the mood for playing and getting in tune with that inner child and painting.
The inspiration behind my Asian-themed meal comes from the desire to utilize as many fresh ingredients as possible while also showcasing features of different countries. In my restaurants, we only serve Satsonese-inspired food. My personal style is more varied and I really enjoy exploring different ingredients and flavor profiles.
For her appetizer course, Kristina prepares shrimp cakes with avocado-wasabi mousse.
We're gonna start by preparing our avocado-wasabi mousse. I love this recipe. It's so simple, very flavorful, and it has just the right kick to it. So in a bowl, I've already chopped up about 2 large ripe avocados. I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of lime juice and about half a tablespoon of wasabi. I recommend starting with a little bit of wasabi and blending and then tasting. All right, so now we've got this nice thick and smooth creamy consistency. You can also do this in a food processor, whatever makes it easiest for you. But what we're gonna do is transfer this into a smaller container and put it in the fridge and save for later. To make our shrimp cakes, we're going to take these beautiful shrimp that we've already washed, deveined, and removed the tails off of, and we're just going to add them into our food processor. So you want the consistency to be pretty coarse, so you have a lot of texture in it. It's my personal preference to have a consistency of both fine, medium, and coarse pieces. It just creates more texture. You can also add more ingredients to give it a little crunchy texture, such as some spring onions or some water chestnuts. And we just want to fold these ingredients all together, combining them very well. We're gonna be making our shrimp cake patties by hand. What I like to do is keep a little bit of warm water next to me to help eliminate some of the stickiness. We've heated up the olive oil to about medium heat, and we're just gonna drop in the patties for about 1.5 to 2 each side. Sear off some of the whole shrimp that we reserved as a garnish. We're going to season them with ginger, garlic, white pepper, salt, and a little bit of Shaoxing rice wine. Now we're ready to plate our appetizer. Carve out a little cavity because we're going to fill the cavity with the wasabi avocado mousse and place our reserved whole shrimp on top as a garnish. And that is your shrimp cake with wasabi and avocado mousse.
Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some silkscreen printed napkins. There's a well side, which is where it like dips in, and then there's the non-well side. For a lot of screen printing processes, you want to keep your ink and your squeegee on the well side and all your stencils, your emulsion fluid, or whatever screen printing process you use on this side. So I'm just gonna put like a generous amount. Not too much, you don't want it to get too globby. Anything that's the mesh, ink is gonna go through and print. So it's really important that you go ahead and cover those areas. Let me talk a little bit about the ink. This one has a t-shirt which indicates that after I'm done printing, I can iron it and heat set it, and then it can go in the washing machine, and then it'll stay on the fabric. I'm using my Scotch tape again to lift up my screen and get my ink. And you want your line thick enough that as you pull the ink, it can fill everything. You want like even pressure on your squeegee. So I'm gonna put that here for now. Make sure my hands don't have ink on them. And I'm gonna bring in my first napkin. Now I'm gonna get my screen and kind of place it where I need it to go. This is kind of like some eyeballing. I like this spot. Once I place it down, I'm pretty committed. And now I'm gonna get my squeegee and kind of go back in the ink and just do 1. I like to do 2. Put it back. And then hold the fabric down because it usually sticks. And there you go. There's your first little print. So if your ink dries, that will then block the mesh. So in between printing, put it back on your support and flood it. I love the idea that you can print print the same design over and over and over, because that's another huge thing about silkscreen printing, is that you can create so many multiples.
Our main course is inspired by a classic Korean dish, which is the bibimbap. First, we're gonna start off by marinating our steak. I chose to use the New York strip as our primary protein because I like the leanness of this particular cut, but you can substitute any type of protein you wish. You can use chicken or tofu or shrimp, whatever makes you happy. Asian cooking is incredibly versatile and features a lot of different flavor profiles and textures, and to build a meal is to combine different elements and take your guest on a culinary journey. And then generously season with salt and pepper. And then we're gonna just massage these ingredients together and let it marinate for about an hour to 2 hours. These tops we're going to mince finely and use as herb for our roasted vegetable sauté. So we want to slightly roll the carrot towards us while we're chopping, so it gives you a more multi-dimensional cut. I have chosen to pan-sear our vegetables in this version of bibimbap. You can oven roast them, or you can even select ingredients that are ready to eat in their raw state. And after we've cut them, we do want to give them like a smack, just like that with your knife. And what that does is it opens up the radishes and allows all those flavors from our sauté to seep right in. I always like to have medium-high heat with the oil already quite warm, and I will throw in my ginger, garlic, and the carrot tops that we had previously prepared. So we're doing these vegetables one by one, so when we plate our bibimbap, you have this beautiful arrangement around your crispy rice. We're going to be toasting some pre-cooked steamed jasmine rice. We're going to be seasoning that with a little bit of salt and pepper and some sesame oil, and that's going to go at the bottom for plating for our main course. So once you have that nice sear and crust developed, you're going to very carefully transfer it onto your plate. To do our steak, we want to bring our temperature up to medium-high heat. You want to give it about 2 minutes on each side. I'm just going to put a dollop of butter on top. We're just going to carefully transfer it onto our cutting board here so it can rest. You want your egg to have this kind of nice crackling sizzle when you drop it in. That's when you know your oil temperature is enough. So very quickly, you're just going to season with some fresh grated pepper and salt, and then immediately you're going to turn the heat off all the way and put the lid on it. There's really no right or wrong way to plate things. It really is however it looks the best to you. But it does require you to think a little bit about how you're going to arrange your ingredients to be most visually pleasing. Don't let it intimidate you. Combine contrasting colors. I like to create dishes that have a lot of different color in them, contrasting ones that are just visually stimulating, because we eat with our eyes.
So I'm putting together this really abstract tablescape that really goes with like the mood of the house. So I'm going to be making the centerpiece to look like a very abstracted koi pond. So we're going to start with the large bowl. I'm going to put the LEDs in first because it's a little easier to motion the rocks around them. The light is pretty bright, and as it goes through the translucent rocks, it creates like a really fun effect where it almost looks like the rocks are glowing. I found these little mosaic tiles just to act as like little bits that could be founded upon, and add pops of color. Kind of get little creative. And it's coming together pretty well. Now I'm going to go ahead and incorporate these floating votive candle holders. Now I'm going to put in my abstracted fish. This is from a silk tiger lily flowers that I just cut the petals from. I also wanted to create something that incorporated my kind of artwork and things I'm already naturally been inspired by for years. I have these small air plants just to add literally a touch of like life to the piece. To begin assembling everything together, I'm going to start with the centerpieces. I have these acrylic risers that I'm going to put under the ponds as a way to elevate some of them and add like different heights and dimension. A lot of my landscape paintings have waters and bodies, so creating an abstracted koi fish pond felt so natural because that was an environment. So I have this really nice green fabric, and it has very subtle textures, but there's enough going on that it kind of still decorates the top. It's also a very vibrant color and kind of like talks to the orange a little bit, which is something I really like. So the next thing is I'm going to start placing my glass votives that have little candles inside, just to add another light element, and a different kind of light. These have candles in them instead of the LEDs. Now I want to work on another element for the table, which are the place card holders. So I found these really nice acrylic place cards online and just used like a regular acrylic paint marker that I found, and then I'm just going to write the name of the person that's going to be sitting there. So now I'm going to fit it onto the little base. There you go.
Our dessert course is a classic, very light Chinese dessert, which is the mango sago, which is a tapioca-like pudding. There's a lot of different sizes of tapioca. You don't want to find ones that are too small or ones that are too large. The small to medium size is perfect for this dish. So we've finished boiling our tapioca, and we've gone ahead and strained it and rinsed it under cold water and transferred it into our glass bowl here. What we're going to do is add about a tablespoon or so of honey, and what that's going to do is help the tapioca pearls not stick together, and it's going to add a little bit of sweetness to the tapioca as well. We're going to be emulsifying the mango. I'm doing this with a immersion blender, but you can do this in a regular blender as well. For the mangoes, you want to choose mangoes that are pretty ripe. Otherwise, your dessert will be on the tart side. However, you can always add a little bit of honey or whatever sugar you want to use to sweeten the dessert. So then we want to just transfer this into another bowl and put in the refrigerator to chill for about 2 hours before serving. To plate our dessert, we're going to start off with the prepared tapioca that we've soaked in a little bit of honey. And then we're going to add in our chilled mango puree, just a light layer of coconut milk, top and garnish with a few of the mango that we have cubed already reserved. And then just sprinkle with some toasted coconut flakes. And your dessert is ready to serve.
So now we're going to move on to building our place setting. To start, I'm going to place our placemat. Lori had these really beautiful geometric plates that I thought fit the theme of like geometry and abstraction. She also had salad plates that do that. I chose her silver cutlery. So to keep going with the theme, I went online and I found these really beautiful water and wine glasses that were also really geometric. And now I'm going to bring back the napkin from earlier. I'm gonna fold it in half, kind of work the ends in a little bit. As long as you iron it for about 3 minutes on either side, these will be machine wash safe. I was really pleased with how all the elements of the tablescape came together. I wanted it to be modern with abstracted shapes, elements that happened in the center that also mirrored what was happening on the outer sphere where the people were sitting. I really loved how the fishbowl I created, from a distance it did look like an abstracted koi palm, which was the intent, and the air plants add that small little touch, and how the placemats worked and were showing a lot of geometry there, and how the napkins with the subtle screen print, everything danced together at the end, and I was really happy with that.
So Kristina's dinner was amazing. The presentation on the shrimp cake was very nice. I think Victoria's tablescape design fit very well with the style of the home. To friends.
To friends. Thanks for joining us. On our website, artisanchefs.com, you will find detailed recipes, table creation tips, and a list of local retailers where you can purchase our table and meal kits to create your own custom dinner party.